Let's talk about male pick-mes. Over the past decade, we've seen a stark shift in reverse harem anime depicted in the romance spectrum, with men trying to grab the attention of women or female-presenting people in order for them to reciprocate the romantic advances. I made a video briefly outlining this subject matter. However, I want to delve into the intricacies of men in these type of relationships. Reverse harem is quite an interesting sector. These relationships can often be depicted as romantic, platonic, or toxic, twisting and warping these fantasies of men wanting to have power and authority over the person that they're in love with. What is beauty? They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. In reverse harem anime, however, it is derived from the word harem. Harem is rooted from the word harumamono, which is a polygamous type of relationship in which one person gets attention from different people. No matter the sexuality shown between any of the characters, men usually are trying to push their ideologies of what they believe is beautiful into a form of someone that they truly love and adore and want to be with for the rest of their life. However, several of these type of relationships are falling into the unimaginative storylines and predictable tropes that men need to have power over women in order to vindicate themselves, which in ideology and concept is not something you want to continuously be using in terms of creating a story in anime. It's very important to critically engage in the media that we watch, and anime specifically dives into a lot of these different romantic sectors with men wanting and actively pushing their desire to be with someone. I realize it's important to have escapist media and to leave our mundane lives. However, if we continue wanting to see these relationships romanticized, it can kind of pull into the stereotypical tropes of men, and that doesn't always add into a unique yet insightfully intriguing storyline. Just search up any reverse harem anime top recommendations and you will find a show that briefly mentions what I'm talking about. Usually reverse harem is targeting teenage girls as it falls mainly in the shoujo genre, which in hindsight isn't something you want to be pushing towards a teenage audience, as it can also be piqued by the isekai and action genre, which can attract both boys and girls, which I think is why reverse harem is quite popular. It attaches a lot of different aspects from slice of life, shoujo, action, and isekai and puts them together in men trying to actively pursue women in different types of scenarios. Men in reverse harem anime are often shown as clingy, obsessive, and the most concerning, lack of consent from their individual that they are in love with. Some might say it's just their personality or their view of life. However, there are some undeniable ways that someone can manipulate who they want to be with because they have this unnatural desire as a man to place their hegemonic thoughts inside of the other person, which in hindsight shouldn't always be viewed as romantic or fantasized. Attractiveness is quite vibrant in reverse harem anime. The people are usually good looking and by far show only one type of body type. When they try to deviate from this, it usually turns out as poor representation. Kiss Him Not Me gave the audience the impression that Kai wasn't beautiful until she lost weight. That message alone isn't good to be sending to any audience, to young girls no less. Especially if you're trying to use that excuse now in real life, you would be looked at as fat phobic, which would be wholly accurate. Shima is gender non-conforming, and they emphasize how they love Kai but also understand the need for friendship and not crowding up her space. Take a look at how Nozuo Nanashima portrayed his feelings for her. He started out as someone that continuously bullied her and tried to seek her attention in quite harmful ways, yet all of a sudden when she automatically loses weight, he all of a sudden wants to have a relationship with her. It was clear when he found out that Kai was an otaku that he was completely negligent to wanting to be with her, as Kai likes to fantasize about men instead of having a relationship with them. Hanasakuru Sei Shonen shows Kajika with men 4 to 7 years her senior and continually romanticized these relationships because Kajika's optimistic personality and her idealized feminine frame warranted the men wanting to actively pursue her in unethical means. Vampire Knight is one of the few anime where beauty isn't the central point of the romantic interest. Yuki, Kadame, and Zero are in a love triangle combining their other male vampires with a slight prevalent yet romantic relationship. However, this completely negates the fact that they didn't take the time to fully get to know her, which the other vampires' platonic relationship towards them wasn't really as fleshed out as it initially appears. We do get to see a lot of their backstory and why they are powerful in the way that they try to place their thoughts onto other people. It's not accurate to say that it is great representation for them to even have a romantic interest in Yuki. Dance with Devils follows similar storylines with Shiki, Maid, Lindo, and Rowan actively pursuing Ritsuka and assaulting her in order for them to get the Forbidden Grimoire, as they always push their ideologies of what they want, and once they saw her beautiful feminine frame, they wanted to have a romantic relationship with her. This is displayed through the Grand Ball, where they all wanted her to go to the dance with them and perform and enjoy the romantic gestures that they both saw in each other. The thought of this is so pervasive that it's quite hard to completely see the accurate depictions of how this relationship is showing just the level of depth that men want to have with their significant other. The first reverse harem anime were quite interesting. They tossed them more towards the isekai and action genre, which I stated earlier usually attracts boys. Now this is definitely shown with Fushigi Yugi, Yona of the Dawn, and countless others. Gender has been quite a hot topic of conversation for a while, and I think that reverse harem anime got the opportunity to push that desire towards men to not only have relationships with women, but also with men as well. I think that's what made reverse harem so popular and also so flexible and versatile. It allowed a space to be created for fantasies and escapism and not let it fall into the poor existent trope of always trying to find the same plot storyline. They go way beyond anything that we've seen in slice of life and action, as it doesn't feel like the same thing we're watching over and over again. However, the main common issue is hegemony and power. Men are direct with their feelings. They know exactly what they want, when they want, and why they want to get the woman or the female presenting person to be in love with them. I think that was quite an interesting way to approach men wanting to have a relationship, and how the harem genre pushes this fantasization of idealized bodies into a way that allows us to view the anime that doesn't feel negligent towards the fact that it's completely boring, which does happen with quite a lot of slice of lives and action, as the action sequences can kind of keep going and going and going, but there isn't any sort of emotional plot. With slice of life, we get to see the characters in real time, but often the mundane life can get a little bit old and tired and doesn't push any sort of new imaginative storylines. Yale University blogger Karen Liu states men in reverse harem do not necessarily need to be friends or get along with each other. Villains in the storyline turn into love interests. It's worth noting this, that men don't always have to get along. They don't need to have each other to fend themselves on. They can stand alone. They can push themselves and want to get what they need. Even though that some shows do depict men working together in order for their individual gains, it also shows that men are actually taking the initiative to want to have these relationships and pushing their desires onto other people instead of trying to do everything with other people and getting them to do all the work for them, instead of them trying to put the work in for for the romantic relationship that they want to have with the individual. It really shows just how reverse harem is adding these type of themes of independence in terms of relationship struggles. Obviously, this is a cut and dry fact, but it shows just how powerful reverse harem anime was to us as individuals and how it still maintains its relevancy throughout how men are approaching their hegemony towards their individuals that they want to have romantic relationships with. Yeah, those were all of my thoughts on men in reverse harem anime. This was a little bit more informal than a lot of my other videos. I kind of just wanted to get on camera and just discuss some of these issues I've been having in my brain, but also something that I've been intriguingly watching for a while that I neglect to say that even though parts of it can be quite toxic and not good for the culture, I still find the escapist mentality of these shows to be quite fun and interesting, and overall, entertaining. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next one.